Hello, hello. Boy, I've hesitated starting this. A couple of times I was ready to start and I thought, no, I need to ponder this some more. And so I did. Been up since a little after 4 and it's 5:33 and I finally thought, well, I'm not going to wait till 5:55 or 5:44. I try to always have a master number in the numbers on the clock when I begin, just because I'm nuts that way. It doesn't really make any difference at all, except for the people that it does. And I like that, because this is a game. And why do I do these videos every day? Because for me it gives me the opportunity to reflect on lots and lots and lots of things. In fact, every day there's probably more than one subject that I could tackle with equal passion and with equal concern, because they're things that have come up in my life and in responses to other videos, and there's so many directions I could go. But I'm actually going to go where I was going to go yesterday before I woke up yesterday, because I was going to do this one the night before at 11:11, as I said in yesterday's video. So I'm giving you all of this stuff just to show you some of my process. And I'm not trying to convince you that I'm right or that I know more than you do. I see everything the way that I see it, based on my experience and the things that I choose to react to and the things that I don't choose to react to. And all I'm giving you is an opportunity to reflect as I reflect. I'm not asking you to do anything that I'm not doing. Examining my beliefs, examining my perceptions and my reactions and my resistance. Examining. I haven't arrived. I don't have all the answers. And that's what I'm titling today. It's called The Ninth Wave: Hidden Purposes, Unknown Meaning. And I've already wrote the blurb, but most of the time I don't write the little blurb that comes in the YouTube channel until after I've done the video. Although the last few times I've actually written it beforehand. Anyway, this is what I write for that blurb. It says, to say God doesn't care about morality is a loaded statement. Lots of hot buttons. It's not an absolute truth. Truly, God cares about everything. God is love. Love always cares. The point is, love does not judge. Love loves. And I have to get that. I have to get that. Why? Because I've lived my whole life judging and thinking that the way that I see things is the way that everybody is supposed to see things. And to recognize the fact that God is not something that I create in my image. God is something that is beyond my image. God has hidden purposes, and life has unknown meaning. And my job is not to always try to figure out the hidden purposes and to discover the unknown meaning, though I try my very best to do that. My job, as the masters have long taught, especially Jesus, but others as well, my job is to love. By this shall all men know that you are my disciples, if you have love one for another. Those that say they love and hate their brother don't know God. Now that's the Bible for those of you that are Christians, or those of you that are Muslims, or those of you that are Hindus or Buddhists, or name your religion, or Jews. Name your religion, it doesn't matter. These principles are principles of life that have been revealed to us from time immemorial by those that we revere as masters, most of whom we've killed when they were alive and don't revere them till after they're dead. When are we going to wake up and get it? We have created God in our image, and we've used God to justify our inhumanity to each other, and most importantly of all, to justify the fact that we are guilty and don't love ourselves. We are shamed and don't accept ourselves as we are. You know, we have a lot of things about the final judgment when we stand before the throne of God and we are judged, and God separates onto this side those that are bad and onto this side those that are good. That's the image of us. That's the way we would do it if we were God. But we are God. Every one of us is a part of God. Every one of us has the mind of Christ or the mind of Buddha. Name your freaking religion. It doesn't matter. What they were trying to tell us, what Jesus was trying to tell us, is if you love God and love your neighbor as yourself, you've done what you came to do. That's your lesson, folks. That's what he was trying to say. When are you going to get it? When are you going to get it? The disciples came to him and says, look at these people over here. They're preaching in your name, but they're not in our group. You know, they're not part of us. And Jesus said, look, I've got other sheep that aren't in this fold. You know, there's other disciples that aren't in our little inner circle right now. They're not here with us. But that doesn't mean they're wrong. They're still my sheep. And sheep are stupid. I want you to get it. We all of us, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not. We are sheep, and sheep are stupid. They follow to the slaughter. They'll follow the other sheep to the slaughter. They'll all let themselves be killed because sheep are ignorant. They're stupid. And that's a judgment. Maybe the stupidity is exactly what they've come to show us. Maybe each of us has come to show somebody something, and another mirror of a part of themselves that they don't like. So some of you think, well, being gay is a sickness. It's a disease that has to be healed. All right, that's your perception. Does that make it true? I used to think that as well. There was a time that I wrote for a spiritual magazine before I even started my own spiritual magazine. And one day, I opened the magazine, and there's my article on the left-hand side of the magazine opened. The left-hand page was my article. On the right-hand page was another article written by a psychic that was in our local community, and it was called Homosexuality 101. I went to the publisher of that magazine, and I was pretty pissed. I mean, how dare she put my article next to an article about homosexuality? I mean, my God, somebody might infer that I was a proponent of homosexuality. And I'm a confirmed heterosexual. Huh. I mean, whatever the hell that means. I'm attracted to women, not men. Okay, so what? Then I started my own magazine. And in the 4th issue or so, and I've probably told this story before, but it bears repeating, I wrote an article called Fundamentalism and the Ego, in which I said something to the effect of, I tried to find that old one. There's not very many copies of it left, and I have so many back copies, but I can't find some of the early ones. Anyway, as I remember, I says that fundamentalists can't accept anything that's paradoxical or enigmatic or exceptional or vague. They want concrete things so that they can know how to judge and give themselves support in their judgments, so that they know who don't I have to love today? Who can I make an excuse not to love? Because that's what it is. It's an excuse not to love someone, not to see someone as God probably really does see them. You know, God is willing to go to the ends of the earth to save the one lost sheep. Maybe the one lost sheep is humanity on planet Earth. Maybe we're the one lost sheep collectively, because boy, we sure have it in our head that we know the answers right and wrong. And look what it's produced. Look at our history. And I don't care if it's the revised history or the real history. Look at our history. Wars, wars, wars. Fighting, killing, raping, plundering. Everything we've plundered. And we've made excuses and made God support our narrow-mindedness. And that's what fundamentalism is. It's narrow-mindedness. That's what the ego is. It's narrow-mindedness. Anyway, I wrote that article, Fundamentalism and the Ego. And I got the telephone call from Jack Nichols, one of the foremost leaders in the gay revolution, if you will. He wrote the gay agenda, talking back to fundamentalists. And he called to tell me how much he appreciated that article that I had written. And that he had just written a book himself that was just published, The Gay Agenda, talking back to fundamentalists. And as fate would have it, wouldn't you know it, I'm in somebody's house just a couple of days after that phone call, and there on the coffee table is the local section of the newspaper with an article in there that says local author is going to be presenting and releasing his new book and doing a book signing at the Cocoa Beach Library. And it was Jack Nichols, this guy. I says, oh my God, that guy is the one that just called me. And so I go to hear him. He never met me. I never met him before. We never laid eyes on each other. We had a phone conversation. Well, wouldn't you know it, I go into the Cocoa Beach Library and he starts talking about his book. And wouldn't you know it, he has my article there, my magazine that I published. And he reads a paragraph from Fundamentalism and the Ego. He didn't know me. And bear in mind, he didn't know that I was there, and he didn't know who I was by appearance. Well, after his talk, which I thought was amazing, I go up to him and I introduce myself, and he introduces me to all of these other people. This is the guy who wrote that article on fundamentalism and the ego. And all these guys are coming up to me and giving me big hugs. And I found myself blurting out, Jack, would you like to write for Paradox? Would you like to write for my magazine? And he said, I'd be delighted to write for your magazine. So for the rest of the time that I published that hardcover magazine, Jack Nichols was one of my contributors to the magazine. So here is a man, me, who got really upset when another publisher put my article next to an article on Homosexuality 101. That's how bigoted and insane I was. That's how crazy I was. That's how ignorant I was. And here I have total control over my own magazine. Nobody's going to tell me what can and can't go into that magazine. It's my decision, my choice, and I just asked one of the leading gay advocates in the United States of America, the first man ever to appear on national television in 1962 on the Mike Wallace Show and openly admit that he was a homosexual. And I just asked him of all people, I asked him to write for my magazine. And he agreed. And I'm driving home down A1A along the Atlantic Ocean on the east coast of Brevard County, Florida. About as far east as you can get. There's no more roads. There's the Atlantic Ocean on the other side. And I'm driving down that highway from Cocoa Beach going back to Melbourne. And I sang to myself, God, what did I just do? What did I just do? And as clear as I am speaking to you now, these words came to me. Ron, you don't know enough to judge another. And if you did, you wouldn't. Forever. That changed my point of view about sexuality. And that's why I put the title, God Doesn't Care About Morality, when it comes to who we love. God's only question is, do you love? Are you willing to accept people where they are without knowing the meaning of their life, without knowing the purpose that they came here to fulfill? Are you willing to sit in your own ignorance and judge them because they aren't like you? If that's the way we're going to play this game, folks, this ninth wave is going to fall flat on its face. But I believe we're going to wake up. I believe we are waking up. I believe we have wakened up. Many of us have awakened. And what have we awakened to? The only purpose we're here, the only reason we're here is to love one another. There is no other purpose because God is love. And love always cares. And the point is, love does not judge, love loves. That's the truth. Love loves. God loves you. God loves me. Are we willing to love each other and stop creating the image of a false God in our perverted image that thinks it knows all the answers and is unwilling to accept that which is different and exceptional and enigmatic and paradoxical? Are we willing to see beyond our own judgments and love one another? I am. And if we do it together, we will change the world. We are doing it together, and the world has changed because we have awakened and recognize that in every person that we see, there's just another me, another part of me. And it's all part of what we call God. And God is love. I leave you with that. Namaste. God bless you. And she has, and so has he. We are one. Be in peace.